It's the 1st of November, which is All Saints' Day. Now, we've been trained as Christians to think of a saint as somebody who is especially holy. Holiness certainly comes into the definition of sainthood, but in the New Testament, Christians are called saints. So Paul, writing his letters to the Christians in a particular city, will address his letter to the saints in that place. I'd be willing to bet that none of them measured up quite up to the standard that we think of for the people who are officially made saints. So what does saint actually mean? What is Paul talking about when he addresses us as saints? Well, there's a hint in the word Christian. The Christian is the one who belongs to Christ. And the language of belonging is key here, I think, around sainthood. And belonging is quite interesting. We use the word in all sorts of different ways. I might talk about the possessions that belong to me. I own them; they're mine. But I might also talk about the children who belong to me. Now, that's not ownership, is it? We don't own our children. So belonging also involves having responsibility for somebody or something. So belonging to Jesus has both of these ideas within them. We do belong to him as possessions. At the end of 1 Corinthians 10, Paul says, "You were bought with a price. You are not your own." Now, that's a really big thing for us in our society to give up, our ownership of ourselves. To actually say that even God can have possession of us is a hugely countercultural thing, but it's essential. Lord, have your way in me. Have your way in my life. And of course, when we do that, he treats us as the same way we treat our children. We belong to him in the same way, and he will care for us. And he will also teach us what the culture is in the system that we belong to. And then again, family works quite well for that. Children learn what the culture of a family is. They learn the values of the family. Sometimes they're taught them directly. Sometimes they just do it by watching. And so sometimes these cultures aren't great and sometimes they're wonderful. But there is a culture and a way of being in the family among those who belong to Jesus. And Matthew 5 touches some of those things. The Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes, Jesus shows us what that looks like. And at the end of chapter 5, it actually says that we are supposed to be like our Father in heaven. So that means that we will be humble. We will recognize our poverty of spirit and our need for God's help. We will be people who feel the pain of the world and the joys of the world as well. That we will rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. We will be gentle. We'll hunger and thirst for justice and for righteousness. There will be a deep pain within us when we see the brokenness of our world. The saints are also merciful. There's a purity of heart, and we are peacemakers. What comes with that? Well, a bit of persecution, some reviling and misunderstanding of what we are about. And notice in the Beatitudes that there's a promise attached to each one of those virtues. And it ends, "Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven." Lord, today, will you have your way in us? Will you help us to live as your beloved children? Amen.